messing with snow, but this is all snow, and there's another burst coming through. This should be the last heavy one for the Boston metro area. We're still talking about 1 to 3 here, and then possibly 3 to 6 to the north. All right, back to our maps. The southeastern region, it's chilly out there. Atlanta, 16 for a wind chill, 12 in Nashville, 10 below Minot. That's how it feels outside. 3 below in Chicago. Oh, yes, look at those wind chills. Tomorrow morning.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Bruce Edwards, live at the Weather Channel's Forecast Center as we continue to track the winter storm that is raking this morning the Great Lakes, New York State, and now into central and southern New England with mainly snow, a lot of wind, near blizzard-like conditions overnight and early this morning across northern Ohio, and now the freezing rain and drizzle around New York City, southern Connecticut. And the snow is still coming fast and furious in and around the Boston metro area and central Massachusetts. And here in the midst of it all is Bill Keneally in Newton, Massachusetts, right near the Massachusetts Turnpike west of the city. And Bill, looks like it's starting to come down a little heavier right now once again.
Yeah, Bruce, we're getting a bit of a reprieve in the wind department right now. Snow, though, definitely picking up. We're not seeing as much in the way of sleet either, as our visibility, I'd say, is about a half a mile, and that generally corresponds to about 1 inch per hour of snowfall. Snowfall, I'd say 8 to 10 inches on top of a foot that had fallen in the prior storms. Again, we're looking at the scene right here. This is the entrance to the Mass Turnpike at Route 128, and this area still not a whole lot of traffic. Folks are definitely heeding the advice from all the other media sources, including us, to stay off the roadways, and that has been pretty much the case. The transit, a little better news. The airports are a real disaster, not getting any better there at all. As you had mentioned, Boston Airport, the visibility now down to 1/8 of a mile. All right, let's show you some pictures shot earlier today around the Boston area. Take you on in town, and in town, the roadway's in horrible shape. As you can see, these folks getting around any way they can, but reports of very little plowing going on around the areas near the south end and also around the Back Bay area. The good news, the tides, which had been down at around high at 9:30, I should say, are starting to go down some. And once again, Bruce, these scenes were from the areas near Boylston Street downtown. Okay, you can see once again, snow continues to fly. Visibility is way back. The folks are getting through the toll plaza relatively easily. Now, the temperature is very cold. Temperature is down about 18 degrees right here, and because of that, the plows are coming on through, dropping their salt, but having little effect as we have a lot of hard-packed snow cover, probably down to a couple of inches, and then the pavement below it. But once again, I think the fact that it's so cold and dry out here probably helping some. The traction a little better than it would be, say, if it was 30 or 31. And because of that, folks are getting around speed limits, generally averaging 35 or 40 miles per hour. Bruce?
Well, Bill, that storm represents a bit of a New Year's bonus for the kids in and around the Boston metro area, doesn't it?
Right, I think we're talking about snow day number 4 in a lot of cases up here, and we may very well have another snow day coming up tomorrow, so I'm sure they're starting to draw some parallels to that lovely winter of 93, 94, when in some cases, some of the school districts had about 10 or 12 snow days, and they paid for it dearly in June the following year.
Well, you've been in the cold, and right now Logan Airport has seen their temperature drop off from about 30 all morning long down to about 18, so even the city of Boston is now feeling the chill. Bill, thank you very much. We'll check back with you a little later on about the situation up in the Boston metro area. Well, this storm system itself is a humdinger, and again, we're now seeing the transformation, as we often do with these storm systems, as the low moves on in and then another low starts to form just offshore, and that's what we're seeing now just off Atlantic City. This is where most of the energy is, and it is sweeping in moisture. Now, southern portions of Massachusetts into the Cape. Now into New Bedford, the snow has changed over to rain as we're getting some milder air in there. Providence has seen some freezing rain and drizzle change over from snow within the last hour, but it's rather heavy from Boston, extending right on across New York State towards Rochester, where there's heavy snow, and right on into Buffalo. You can see on the radar here the darker shades of green showing where we're indicating some of the heavier amounts of snow. Now in Boston, moderate snow showers reporting back over to Worcester and back into the Berkshires, and it's easing up a little bit around Hartford, and again around the South Shores we're seeing some milder air infiltrate, so we're seeing the snow mixing with some freezing drizzle but changing over to rain around the Cape and the islands. But in New York State, particularly the upstate of New York, near Syracuse and Watertown, that's where we're getting some moderate to occasionally heavy snows now around Rochester, moderate around Buffalo. It continues to work its way off towards the east-northeast at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. More snow also in northern Ohio of a consequence, but that is beginning to ease up a little bit around the Cleveland metro area. Light flurries still persist. As a matter of fact, light flurries on the tail end of the system are being felt as far to the south now as Monroe, Louisiana. Now, the snowfall forecast for New England calls for an additional 6 to 12 inches of snow before all is said and done with this storm system that should be ending later on this evening. Now, on the southern end of the storm system, the front in Miami, we've had reports of damage and injuries due to potential tornadoes, lightning strikes on Bird Road between Southwest 107th and 87th Avenue. We've had reports of injuries due to the severe weather as the storms continue to rake the Gold Coast of Florida. So that's a look at our update right now. Marnie Stania will give us a look at our forecast for the rest of the day.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bruce. The low is going to continue to move out of the picture here. Southern New England, though, probably 1 to 3, maybe 3 to 6. So the worst is almost over, we hope. To the north, we'll find daytime temperatures in the sub-zero readings, but we're talking about 40s and 50s to the south. Now, as far as the southeastern region goes, going on in the northeast. Quite a storm. Inches for the areas in gray. Northeastern Ohio, Lake and Ashtabula counties over to Erie County. A lot of snow. It continues to fall certainly in southern New England. Here's what we think. We think that parts of upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine could later on. And you know that it can be kind of deceiving. You're traveling along and you think it looks like light snow, but then there's a layer of ice underneath. Drive carefully here if you have to drive. If you don't, just stay inside and just take the day off. I know that a lot of schools are canceled in this region because of our storm. We have 2 different areas of low pressure. This main low is now tracking up the coast, again pulling in moisture, combining that with cold air from Canada. It's a perfect setup. It's your storm. It's the type of storm you're very used to in the Northeast. Dew points are certainly a factor over South Florida, where we've had some very strong storms this morning. Severe weather around Miami. We're trying to find out more information on a tornado touchdown in Dade County. Let's check out the winds across the U.S. They're quite strong. They're certainly a factor in the Northeast. Those wind chills are low. They're gusting 15 to 25 miles per hour. Boston, Providence, down to Darien and Greenwich, Connecticut. Winds are also a factor in parts of the West. Where you see the orange on this map, winds are gusting anywhere from 15 to 25 miles per hour. Some gusts, though, are even higher than that. Here's our long-range outlook, our storm coming into play, and we'll show you that it does look like the storm in the west will steal the thunder. Quite a bit of snow going to fly around in the west. That's great. They're happy to hear that. Skiers certainly could use some in the west. Wind chills are low. You're looking at 11 below right now in the Boston metro area. That's how it feels outside. Throw in that snow. It's a miserable Wednesday, I'm afraid. A good day to stay inside. Again, here's our last burst. It's about to move through right here. Then that should be it. You look okay now in the city, but north of New York City, we do still have snow advisories for parts of Orange and Putnam counties. And again, near the coast, it could be a little icy at times. All right, Cleveland, Pepper Pike, Shaker Heights, you've had some snow, Garfield Heights. What a day. What a 10 days or so. You've had an awful lot of snow here recently. More snow flying around, too, in Pittsburgh, PA, down to Fairmont, West Virginia. All right, another regional stop. We'll pull in South Florida. About there, you can see it. I'll point to it one more time. There's your last blast. And then we think you should be starting to see that the snow will taper off in southern New England. It will remain quite heavy, though, north of the area of low pressure. All right, back to our maps. And in the northeast, again, windy, snowy conditions. Drive carefully if you have to drive. Tonight and even through tomorrow morning, it will remain very, very blustery out there, so travel with caution, certainly. As far as windy travel goes, we have a lot of it in the west. Watch it along I-70, heading from Kansas to Colorado, and then some fog, too, in the west. Now, stick around, because coming up in a minute, we'll go live to the Forecast Center. We'll talk to Bruce Edwards for the latest on our winter storm.